Hello students, today we are going to study the chapter Electricity from our science book. Topics to be covered in this lesson are as follows. Firstly, we will study about the introduction about electricity. Then there are different types of charges. We know that in this we have to study about opposite charges and similar charges. Next will be the classification of materials, that is conductors and insulators. After that we have to study about electric potential, then potential difference, then electric current, then circuit diagram and symbols used in the circuit diagrams. After that we have to study about Ohm's law, then resistance and resistivity, factors upon which the resistance depends. Then after that we have to study about different types of resistance, that is series and parallel. Next will be heating effect of electric current, and there are many more effects of heating. There are many more effects of electric current, but in this chapter we have to only study about heating effect. Then about its application, and after application we have to study about the electric power, its commercial units and where it is being used. How is that electric power being used? Now we go on to our first topic, that is the electricity. Okay, so in this electricity, first we should understand what is the meaning and why it is necessary, and why it is necessary to study this electricity. Now first I should say that this electricity is very important part of modern society, which is a form of energy. Electricity is a form of energy which is used to run many machines, which is used to run many types of the industries, hospitals and many other places. So we cannot think our life without electricity. Now what is this electricity composed of? For that we should understand the different types of charges. There are two important types of charges. First is positive charge and the negative charges. Now comes the meaning of similar charges and opposite charges. Similar charges means if we are talking about positive and the positive charge, or we are talking about negative and the negative charges. And if we are talking about opposite charges, means we are talking about positive and negative, either positive and negative, or we are talking about negative and positive. Now for consideration of electricity, it is the flow of electrons. Now from where is that electron coming? We know that electricity is being flowed in the wire. It is going to flow in the wire, and wires are made up of metals, and metals are the materials which has a tendency to lose electrons. Okay, now these loose electrons are going to form a chain. Okay, it is going to form a chain. Now one electron is placed after another electron. Okay, so there is a straight line inside a wire. Now once these electrons are moving in a straight chain, it is going to form a continuous flow. As we have studied about the different types of flows, like water current which is moving into the river, it is also in a continuous form. It forms a chain, so it flows through a conductor. Now here the conductor is metallic wire, or it is the place from where these electric charges are being produced is the electric cell. Now electric cell also has the same property of losing electrons. Okay, now for this we have to study, next thing we have to study about the behavior of the charges. Now if two similar charges are present, if positive and positive charges are present, it means that they are going to repel, and if two opposite charges are present, they are going to attract. Fine, we have already studied this in the electricity, or we can say that in electrostatic force we have studied. Okay, now next comes the different types of materials. Now different types of materials on the basis of flow of electricity. Now there are two types of materials, conductors and insulators. Conductors are those materials which allow the electric current to pass through. Now insulators are those materials which do not allow the electricity to flow. Okay, now the examples of conductors we have studied in lower classes, that conductors are the substances or the materials which will allow the electricity to pass through them. Example, metal. And in this specifically I should say the electrical wires, they are made up of metals which have a tendency to pass electrons through it, and it could be any other metallic surface. Then insulators, if we talk about insulators, are those materials which will not allow the electricity to pass through them, such as wood, rubber. Okay, so there are many more insulators. You could make a list of conductors and insulators differently in a as a homework. Now next thing we have to study about is the much more things about electric charges. Now what is this charge, what is the unit of this charge, and how we will find out if any numerical is given, where we have been provided with the electric wire, and we have to find out that from where is that electric charge coming and where it is going at a particular place. How we will find out if for a given time limit, that how much charges are flowing through that area. For this we should understand, first we should understand the unit of charge. Okay, so it is the, what is the unit of charge? Now the unit of charge is coulomb. We write it as coulomb. We write it as coulomb. Okay, so we are talking about the unit of charge, that is coulomb. Now what is this coulomb known as, and why, what is the unit, and how we will calculate the amount of charge flowing through any cross-sectional area. So as we know that electric current is the flow of electric charges, that is electrons, in a conductor such as electric wire. Now if the magnitude of electric current in a conductor is the amount of charge passing through a given point of conductor in 1 second. Now suppose that if a charge of q coulomb, we denote coulomb as capital C. If the charge is q coulombs, it is flowing through a conductor, or it is passing across the cross section area of a conductor in time t. Now what does this statement means? This statement means that if one conductor is there, and if some charges are flowing through it. Now suppose that q charge is passing through a cross sectional area in time t. Now what will be the amount of current which is flowing through the conductor? The amount of current which is flowing through that conductor in time t will be given by the formula, that is I is equal to, I means it is the current, I is equal to q by t, and q means it is the charge, and t means it is the time in which we have to calculate the amount of current which is flowing through that conductor. Now what about the SI unit of current? We have studied about the charges, now we have to study about the unit of current. The unit of current is ampere. Okay, we have already heard about this name, that the unit of current is ampere. And we are talking about SI unit, not only unit, it is the SI unit, the SI unit is ampere, ampere, and it is denoted by the letter A, capital A. Now what does this ampere, it is defined as, the ampere is being defined as, it is if when a 1 coulomb of charge flows through any cross section area of a conductor in 1 second. Okay, now let's understand this statement. This statement says that if any, suppose that any wire is there, in that wire the electrons are flowing. Now once the electrons are flowing, how many electrons are flowing, that is being measured in the form of charges. Now suppose that 1 coulomb of charge is flowing through any cross sectional area of a conductor in 1 second. This only we have written as formula of I is equal to Q by T. This only says that the charge which is flowing through the time. Now here time has been decided, charge has also been decided. Charge is 1 coulomb and time is 1 second. This tells you the definition of ampere, or we can define the ampere as the same. It means 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb upon 1 second. 1 coulomb upon 1 second, or its unit will be 1 ampere is equal to C per second, 1 C per second. Okay, and it is this ampere or this current is measured by the instrument called ammeter. Okay, the instrument used to measure the current is ammeter. This ammeter is always connected in a series with a circuit. When we will study about the different types of circuit, I'll tell you what is the meaning of series circuit and what is the meaning of the parallel circuit. Okay, so ammeter has always a low resistance, so that it could not sustain with a high amount of electricity. So we always use this ammeter in the form of series. Okay, now the next thing which we have to study is the potential difference. About potential difference.